Hello and welcome back to another episode of CR Exposed. Today's episode was selected by my YouTube members and Patreon supporters for the Ancient Black Dragon. And due to the size of this dragon, let's get right into it. Starting from the top, we will have the 22 AC, and then we are going to throw in the CR just for the heck of it, because it always comes last. We are expecting CR 21, and start putting in the hit points. The hit points are going to start with 1, switching to Gargantuan. This is a Gargantuan Black Dragon. From there, we are going to throw in 21 D20 hit dice to get us to 220, but we're looking for that extra 167 or 147 hit points. So we'll throw in the stats of 27 Strength, 14 Dex, 25 Con, 16 Intelligence, 15 Wisdom, and 22 Charisma. Now, let's take a look at the saves here up in the character sheet. We have anything that doubles itself, no save there. But since we have a save on Dex and Wisdom, we have 2 right there. And then we have 1 and 1, nothing else for Con and Charisma. So this is just going to be a 0 to 2 saving throws, which means we don't have to worry about updating our saving throws area and giving our dragon any effective AC bonuses there. From there, we now move on to the features area. And we have skills, immunity to acid, senses, and languages. None of these matter. This isn't going to change our dragon whatsoever, and we can just move on. Now we're going to look at the traits. We have amphibious, doesn't matter, skip it, at least for making monsters. And then we have legendary resistance, which is pretty typical. Now, interestingly enough, this has 4 uses per day and 5 in lair. Most monsters before the 2025 edition only came with 3. In the rare instance, we would see more. But now we have at least 4 uses, which I guess they think is going to help. That's going to give our Black Dragon here an effective 120 more hit points. And that will go into, increasing our defensive rates already. We're seeing so far a defensive rate of 23 at the moment, which is already higher than the printed value. Now, as a word of warning, dragons are notoriously underrated. Moving on, legendary resistances are done. We're going to go into the actions section next, and we'll see that we have a multi-attack of 3 rends. It will replace 1 rend with the use of spellcasting to cast Melf's Acid Arrow at level 4. Looking at our attacks, we have a plus 15 to attack. Our Acid Arrow has a DC of 22, so let's just compare those really quick. By using an attack bonus of 13, which is equivalent to a DC 22, we'll see that this is going to average out primarily to a 15 because we'll have 15, 15, 13 or all 15s. So we'll just go ahead and stick with that 15 and throw that into the attack bonus section. Next, we are going to start adding in the dice damage for Rend. Rend is going to start at 2d8 plus its strength bonus, I'm sure, of an 8, giving us 17, which does line up. And then we have an additional 2d8 acid. Moving along, we have the Acid Breath already in our line here. Recharges on a 5 to 6, which is the next item here. Has a DC 22 save, each creature in a 90-foot long, 10-foot wide line. Failure does 67 or 15 D8 acid damage and half as much on a success. So we'll go ahead and throw the numbers in here. Lots of D8s for this Ancient Black Dragon, which is very fascinating. And then we have the Spellcasting, which is a whole bunch of defensive spells, as well as Melf's Acid Arrow, which we're going to need to look that up to see what it looks like at level 4. Now, luckily, we just need to know where exactly it is. It's a level 2 evocation spell. Cast at level 4, we're dealing about 25 damage per round off of this attack. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the 25 as one possible option here. And we'll just put this into lair action because I'm not going to be looking at lair actions. So that'll be the Melf's Acid Arrow. We'll also take a look at Vitrolic Sphere, which is a level 4 evocation spell. Vitrolic Sphere, it's being cast at level 5. And this is 79 points of damage. Now, this one, I believe, is a multi-hit. So that will be the total for that spell as well. Before we move into the legendary actions, let's go ahead and start working out our attacks. And we will go ahead and throw in, for attack number 1, we'll have the Rend plus the acid damage for a total of 26. We have the breath, which actually needs to be times 2 because we're expecting 2 targets or 2 failed saves worth of targets. And that's it for that. We can do the multi-attack here, which is going to be 26 times 3, or the addition of the Melf's Acid Arrow, which looks like it's going to work out actually to be about the same, actually a little less. So we'll have 2 of these plus the 25 from the acid arrow for a total of 77. Basically, I'm going to use the 78. It's the same, once we average this all out, it's 77.5. No point in using that. We're just going to round, technically we round down for damage, so we'll use the 77 instead. Next we have legendary actions. We'll go ahead and see this as Cloud of Insects, DC 21 Dex save. One creature the dragon can see on a failure takes 33 poison damage, and the target has disadvantage on saving throws to maintain concentration. That, I'm not too worried about adding that in because it's not a huge factor and only applies to our casters. So the effects of the Cloud of Insects is going to be ignored, and we'll just look at the 33 points of damage for one of its uses. And I'm not looking at the layer, I'm just looking at the monster itself, the dragon. So this will be 33 times 3 uses of it, giving us a total of 99 points of damage, or poison damage. Then we also have Frightful Presence. The dragon uses spellcasting to cast Fear. The dragon can't take this action again until the start of its next turn. Fear at this level is pointless because a lot of characters have ways to easily break or remove Fear, so we can just skip past that one, sadly. And then lastly, we have Pounce. The dragon moves up to half its speed and makes 1 rend attack. The problem here is that Cloud of Insects actually does the most amount of damage. Even though it's one target, 33 points of damage, 3 times per round, still better than Pounce or anything else. Unless we need to use Pounce to set up some kind of an attack, but because we're looking for best case scenarios, which is part of the instructions of how to create and draw up your monsters, we're going to go with that, even though we can put in 26 times 3 here. So see 26 times 3 for a total of 78 again, which is just the multi-attack. And we'll go ahead and start calculating our full damage here. Right off the bat, concentration is going to be used with the Cloud of Insects. So we're going to be doing that every round of combat. Cloud of Insects, doesn't matter if they're casters or not, it's just a lot of damage. Round 1, we are definitely doing the Acid Breath, and we should only see that once every 3 rounds of combat or so. We will go ahead and throw in the 135 points of damage there, and then rounds 2 and 3 are just going to be the multi-attack. Doesn't matter if it's 3 rends or 2 rends and a spell cast, that's what we're doing for each round of combat. And sure enough, the CR21 Ancient Black Dragon is actually a CR25. I'm shocked. Look at this face. Look at how shocked I am. Alright, how do we fix this? Well, there's a few different ways we can fix this. But first off, I'm actually surprised that the attacks actually outweighed the defenses here. Usually, and in the past with the 2014 edition of our monsters, from the Monster Manual, they were all heavily defensive. So the fact that the offenses are higher here is a nice little touch. First thing I would do is drop the legendary resistance from 4 to 3, which is very typical for our monsters. Sadly, it doesn't make any difference right off the bat. After that, we're going to have to drop the hit dice down because I definitely want to keep this as a striker. I don't want it to be necessarily a tank. I think it's either good as a striker or a soldier model here. These dragons should be doing a lot of damage. So let's bring these down to probably about around soldier level. If I can get the hit points or the AC, probably the hit points down to a 21 and the offensives down to a 21, I think we'll be golden there. Well, I had to pause the video for a little bit here because I really had to think of what to do to get this Ancient Black Dragon down to a CR21, and it's not pretty. I had to modify a lot of the attacks, the rend from a D8 to a D6, the acid on the attack from a D8 to a D6, the Cloud of Insects down to a D4s, as well as the acid spray down to 8d8. It took a lot. As we can see here, the only reason we're at soldier level now is because the actual amount of damage we're doing is expecting such a low attack bonus that it's bumping us up +2 ranks here. It's not pretty. And honestly, my best advice is don't play it at CR 21, play it at CR 25. Now that we have in theory, we have this dragon balanced out to a CR 21, we're looking at a soldier type here. The defenses are a little better than the offenses, especially with the reduction in legendary resistance here from 4 to 3. Our damage is okay. It does bring it down a wee bit. You can see here that all of our attacks, and I also had to reduce the spell damage as well and go to their base spell damage and not ranked up as well. We're okay. We're averaging out somewhere in the high 50s total average damage per round. I'd say good luck with this one. If you use it as is without any adjustments, who knows, this could probably work out to be just fine. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, thanks to my supporters, and I'll see you in the next one. Love these monster breakdowns? Of course you do. Directly support the channel by becoming a YouTube member or Patreon subscriber today. Your support helps me create more content and get you some awesome perks in return, like early video access and exclusive custom monsters. Find all the details in the description below.